It's more than just your output, more than a bike. When you hear your shout out, you know it's all right. Put on your magic pants and let's go. We're cruising into the power zone. Clip in, set yourself free. Come on and take a ride with me. Know what you need to know and what's it all about. Everything you need, it's on the Clip Out.
Welcome to the Clip Out Podcast, episode 315. This is Crystal O'Keefe.
And this is Tom O'Keefe. Man, I am still kicking myself from last week. I forgot that it was episode 314, which is St. Louis. That's the area code for St. Louis.
Well, this is now the St. Louis episode -1. Plus one. Excuse me.
Yeah, so I was like, well, we'll have to wait till episode 636.
Who knows if we'll be around. That's another 6 years from now, Tom.
That is a lot of time.
Yeah.
But, by then I'll be honing in on retirement, right? What else am I going to do all day?
Well, I don't know what you're going to be doing.
I'll be 58.
Oh.
Yeah. And you'll be...
I'll be 50.
You'll be 50.
Yuck.
So actually close to 51.
Okay, that's
your
enough.
Your birthday's 2 months away.
That's enough.
So
yeah, well, we're not there yet.
But we'll be real close is my point.
Well, that's 6 years from now. So
yes.
Nothing to worry about. There's enough to worry about today. Thank you.
Yes. And for Simpsons nerds, 636 is also the area code for Springfield. So
which is why people thought that it was... Well, actually, they didn't, because Illinois here has 618, so it's a whole nother
thing. It's a whole thing. Yeah. So anyway, that's our big, exciting pre-show ramble. So what, pray tell, do you have in store for people this week?
We're going to talk about all the new stuff that hit this week. We got a ton of new stuff hitting, a bunch of new stuff going on with Peloton. We also have a visit from Dr. Jin. We're going to be talking about tackling intervals when you can't stand them.
Yes.
We also have a visit from Angelo at MetPro, and we're going to be talking about you prep the food. Why won't you eat it?
Why won't you eat it?
Exactly. Lots and lots of updates on the instructors. We're going to be discussing artist series, connected fitness. We've got some things to discuss, and birthdays.
Awesome. Well, we should also talk about our guest this week. She is from the world of the app users.
Yeah. This is a fascinating conversation. Caroline Lupetini. Is that how you say it? Because you said her last name.
It's been so long ago, I don't remember. I forget how to say their names as I'm saying them.
I know you do. Well, Caroline was a delight. And we talked to her about what has been the group sentiment in the app group since Peloton changed all of the pricing. So we talk about the initial reaction, how things are now, how people are feeling. And of course, we talk about Caroline's Peloton journey as well. So it's a really fun convo.
Absolutely. So you have all that to look forward to. So before we get to all that, shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, iHeart, TuneIn, wherever you find a podcast, you can find us while you're there. Follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. That's super helpful for the people that come along after you. You're just putting that out in the world for people. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/theclipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group. Don't forget we have a Patreon, patreon.com/real spoilers. Sorry, I'm talking to Kevin in chat while this is going on. So he's messaging me, and so that's top
Kevin stole my camera.
Yes, Kevin stole her camera, and she's very upset about it.
I'm very...
She's all kerfrazzled.
Yes.
So that's patreon.com/theclipout. Although if you want to go to the Real Spoilers one, we would love to have you there as well. But you can get bonus content, and you can get the episodes early. And of course, you'll get them ad free if that's important to you, or you'll just be helping us out. And that's nice too. You can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/theclipout, where you can watch all of these episodes now with chapter breaks. And
that's true.
And what else? Oh, we have a newsletter at theclipout.com where you get the links and all that stuff sent to you. So there's all of that. Let's dig in, shall we?
We shall.
Peloton in the news.
good news for tread users. It looks like Lanebreak is heading your way.
Yeah, this is super exciting. Honestly, I have been dying to tell you guys this. I did have to sign an NDA, but it's fair game now. I made sure before I said anything. And the funny thing is, though, I haven't actually gotten to try it.
Because you have a Tread Plus.
Yeah, so for all of you with the Tread Plus, even though it's showing up on my screen right now, like Lanebreak is showing up on my screen, but when I click on it, nothing happens. I don't think, I don't know. Based on what I'm seeing, this is only going to be released to Tread users, not Tread Plus users.
So the reasoning for that, we believe, is that because of the stuff going on with the CPSC, they're not allowed to make any changes to the Tread Plus until all that's finally rectified, correct?
Yes, but I will say this. I was thinking about this today. Lanebreak does not automatically change your speed or your resistance. It tells you what to change it to.
Right.
So if they're not changing the speed and the resistance automatically, why isn't it available on the Tread Plus? Like it's just software at that point, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not any different than putting out new class content.
That's what I think. So maybe it will still show up. I'm just telling you, I had a Tread Plus. It wasn't available to test for the Tread Plus. So I don't know if the end result will be, it will or will not show up on your Tread Plus. But for the Tread users, here's what we know. Just like with Lanebreak on the bike, you will have all different types of music. You also have all different types of speeds. We know for a fact that when it's being released, we are only going to see classes for running. There are no walking classes. There are no hiking classes. It is running. However, you can put it for people like me who are super slow, you can put it on the easiest setting.
Mode.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. And it will be pretty slow speeds that you could walk effectively. Gotcha. So it is totally usable for all members who want to run or want to walk fast.
Yeah, that's good. And I guess it makes sense that it would only be for running per se. Because if you're walking it as a video game, it's not going to be
as challenging.
Super challenging. So
it is interesting, though, because what I'm hearing from people who did test it was that when they tested it, it was like at first really tough because you would have to you have to ramp up the speed so fast and then ramp down the speed so fast that it was over before you even the tread wasn't even all the way up. So they had to slow down those transitions. It's going to be different than the bike was, where the bike you can switch pretty quickly. They had to adjust that speed to get the right feel for the tread.
So I'm not going to lie. This sounds dangerous.
Why?
Because I know that for that brief window when we actually went to a gym.
There was that time.
For 2.5 weeks. It was the worst 2.5 weeks of our marriage.
No, it wasn't.
What is the worst 2.5 weeks in your opinion? If that was, no, go on.
Well, it had nothing to do with you. I'll put it that way. Your ex-wife, though.
Yeah, well, she's been my ex-wife for the entirety of our marriage. So anyway, when I would get on tread, I would always feel like I was about to get out of control, or I wasn't going to keep up, and so moving the speed back and forth and trying to move a dot around or whatever, that to me that sounds stressful and from a physical safety standpoint in a way that doing it on a bike wouldn't. Granted, I've done neither, but just in my head, it seems like I would get distracted and lose my place, and all of a sudden I'm George Jetson.
Well, I also will say that when you are changing the speed on the tread versus when you're changing the speed on a traditional treadmill at the gym, it's a lot different feel. Treadmill. I mean, honestly, yeah, because you roll it forward and backwards, it feels very smooth. Mm-hmm. Whereas at the gym on those were kind of janky treadmills,
right? Yeah.
You had to boom, 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 boom. You had to hit the button really, really fast.
Yeah.
And keep in mind that when you're moving it on the tread, also you have the super speed up button, the one that's just right in the center. There's a jump button that'll go one whole speed up. You don't have to press it a bunch of times.
Okay.
I guess what I'm saying is it feels like a smoother transition.
Gotcha.
But I hear your concern. I think that there's going to be some people that aren't going to be
Right.
comfortable with this, especially if they have any balance issues or vertigo issues. Like if I had tried to do this back whenever I was first healing from my accident, no, big ol' no. I mean, I actually had exercises. What I did was when I went to physical therapy, one of my exercises was to walk and eventually run while looking left to right with my eyes. And at first, like, I would almost fall off the tread.
Right.
Because that was new to me and my body had to recalibrate everything. And there are people that either they've suffered a concussion or they just have various medical reasons that make them have that sensation all the time,
Right.
that would not be able to necessarily
Yeah.
do that. So I hear what you're saying. It's certainly not for everybody, but I think for people who really enjoy gamifying things,
Sure.
I think this will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I bet if you're good at it, I bet it'll be fun. You know who's going to be good at it?
Who?
OK Go.
What?
The band OK Go.
Why will they be good at it?
Don't you remember their video on the
No.
treadmills?
There it is. I had to pull it up in the old files.
Yes.
Okay, now I do.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, one other thing about this, and that is that people who are looking to use this, I don't know exactly when it's going to come out. We know it's going to come soon. And we're going to expect that the classes that they originally put out there will not be the only classes they will have. So just like with the bike, there will be, they will add classes every so often. Feels like they add about 2 classes a week on the bike. So hopefully they will add 2 classes a week for the tread as well.
You would think that they've been banking some content. Like, so there's
I would hope.
stuff
Well, I mean,
to
they definitely did for the testing. So everything that was
Yeah.
available for testing will be, but I
That
don't
makes
know
sense.
when they launch if there will be content that has not already been tested. Who knows?
Who knows? So, but, and even though I'm like, oh, it sounds dangerous, they've been testing it. So you got to think that if anyone was having these sorts of problems, they've already addressed it.
Yeah,
right?
and like I said, a big thing was that it went really fast. I did hear from one person who said, now I've only talked to a few people about this, but one of the people that tested it didn't like I told you, that they didn't have a feature to walk or
Yeah.
hike. Like they didn't like that. They really wanted the ability to walk. Because I think you could still make it challenging by making the hills really hard.
Right.
Because like if I'm on a 15 incline, which that you can go to 15 on a tread plus, you can only go to 12.5 on a regular tread.
Bragger.
No, I just meant they're different. Not everybody knows that. But my point is, like, a speed of 3 is plenty fast.
Right.
Like plenty fast at that incline. Like
Yeah.
it feels like you're working real hard.
For sure. And before we end this segment, I have to get it out in front of this so I don't get a million emails. You know who else would be good at this?
Who?
The lead singer of Jamiroquai. So
Okay.
just got to put that out there.
Thank you.
No problem.
I'm glad we're including everyone that this might be good at.
So it just got more easier.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
That's how English works.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's just,
Let's go with that.
yeah, to search the artist series collection.
Yeah, this is really cool. They broke it down in the artist series collection. Not only can you search easier, but like it's broken down into new rows. So now they have these new rows that's like, okay, here's all these different kinds of, like, here's the new ones.
Mm-hmm.
And they have like their most popular ones on the very top. Like
Right.
Madonna's right on the top right now because that's the brand new one. We'll
Yeah.
talk about that later.
Makes
But
sense.
then they also have them all broken out by like, here's all the rock ones. Here's all the, I don't know, pop ones, And so then you have all of that too. And then in addition to that, you can also go in and filter. This is huge. You have never been able to filter just on artist series classes before. That is
cool.
exciting.
Yeah.
So this is very cool. People are very excited about this. Out of all the things we have talked about lately, this is probably the thing that people are most excited about right now. It's like something we didn't even know we needed that
Right.
they gave us. I
Those
love
are
it.
the best,
Those
right?
are the best.
When there's some sort of change that you hadn't even thought about, and then you're just like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, I feel like Dr. Jen could spend some time here because she loves her 80s.
Right.
And she tends to, only do them if they show up with a certain instructor, and then she'll, but this way she would have more options right in front of her. So I have a feeling this would be very helpful to her.
We need an artist series for Dr. Jen's parents.
Oh, that would be amazing. Just amazing. Like, wow, the breadth and the depth of that catalog.
It's so huge.
Yeah. What? Maybe Dr. Jen should look into that herself.
That'd be cool. Yeah. I think some of it is they've in the past they featured the performers, right? Because that's what most people.
But remember, they did that one series that was like director series or something like that. So they can change.
Yeah, that's true. And they did Niles, whatever. And so I mean, they have done some one producer driven ones and things. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. Amazon Prime Day is almost upon us. I hope you got a card for me already.
You know that I did.
Yeah.
You know that I did.
So, but we have seen that Peloton will, in some capacity, be a part of Prime Day this year.
Now, listen, I want everybody to really, really I want you to make sure everything is quiet so you can hear me very clearly.
Bikes are $1
no,
on Prime Day.
But in all seriousness, I have been saying for some time, this year, I have a feeling we are really going to see some deals on Amazon. Peloton has been doubling down with Amazon.
Yeah.
All evidence points to this. It's going to be in just a few weeks, July 11th and 12th. There's going to be 48 hours you have to get these deals. They're going to go fast. I'm telling you, I think this is going to be multiple kinds of deals, and it's going to be on multiple kinds of equipment. I just have a big feeling about this. So if you are looking into a bike or a bike plus or, something like a guide, this could be your big moment.
Adjust your resistance because you're going to want to slow down. And don't forget that a guide will allow, if you are one of the people that's affected by this app change, right?
Don't forget that, if you have multiple people in your house, a guide is your best friend because you will be able to have up to 5 people on one account and only pay $25 a month. It is the best deal Peloton has out there on membership because you get all of the classes across all of the different kinds of modalities.
There you go. So if they drop the prices on guides, you snag one for yourself.
July 11th and 12th, you people better mark your calendars. I don't want to hear you didn't know.
Speaking of the app, and we will again later, but right now there are some deals and promotions, special pricing available on the app for some people.
Yeah, this is really cool because Peloton just announced that this week. And I don't think people knew how much of a different kind of pricing we were going to see. But there is special pricing for students, military, and that's active duty, reservists, veterans, and dependents, doctors, nurses, other healthcare workers, veterinarians, first responders, and educators. And get this, they are all different rates. So if you aren't sure, you should go check this out because if you use the 30-day free trial, then you can activate your discounted price. So this is really cool. I'm just, for anybody who's, this is for app people. This is not for people who have all access.
Right.
This is for app.
Yes.
So
if you're looking for some better pricing because you don't like the changes, there are some options out there. You should go check them out.
Yeah, just to be clear, typically these are coming in at $12.99 a month, and that whenever you include the discount, the price comes down to $6.99 to $9.99 a month. This is a big savings,
but this isn't the all access one, right? This
does not include all access. Right. This is for app only.
Right, but it's not the top tier of the app, right? It's the middle tier?
It's the one called Peloton App 1.
Okay.
So glad you called that out for sure.
Yahoo Finance is talking about the changes at Peloton, the rebranding, and the effect it's had on the stock price. Now, they are saying Peloton stock is up 20% following its rebrand announcement. Well, when they wrote this article, it was true. They did take a little bit of a dip today because obviously stock is constantly in motion. But it's interesting that people in the stock world are starting to notice that this rebrand thing is in process and they're starting to react somewhat positively.
I am so frustrated by stock people.
Yeah.
They're so, why I'm frustrated? Because one company came out and said they're no longer a perform. They're like a underperform. And that's why the stock is down today.
Yeah.
One guy.
Yeah.
One guy said that. Jesus
it's like
Christ.
A group of people that will tell you they're alpha males, and then someone says, "We don't like this." Oh, I don't like it either.
Yeah,
I'm a leader. I don't like it either.
That is exactly what the stock market is. It's so frustrating. Ugh, but
But it's nice to see that someone's out there noticing the uptick.
Agreed.
The Wall Street Journal has an article this week about the pandemic era habits that just won't die. I couldn't read it at work because I didn't have enough articles on their on their IP address, but at home apparently I can. But I'm assuming Peloton's mentioned because there's a big giant picture or drawing, artist rendering of what is clearly supposed to be a Peloton.
Yeah. There's no doubt that's what they're trying to do there.
Yes.
Yes, they did mention Peloton. They talked about at-home fitness, actually, is what they said. And that people are going back to the gym.
Sure.
But people are also still keeping their gym membership, like doing their home gyms.
Right.
It's kind of that hybrid model, which we said forever that that's what would happen.
And
look,
why
it did.
the app now has the gym feature,
There
right?
you go.
So like they know that you know, if you're going to go to the gym and do this hybrid model, include Peloton in your workout to keep it sticky.
Absolutely.
So there is a petition at change.org. I know that face. Normally when it's an interesting situation because it's pretty rare that I see that face and I'm not in trouble for something.
Yeah, fair warning, I'm just going to sound like a bitch. So if I annoy you whenever I get bitchy, you should just fast forward at this point.
Okay, I'll fast forward. Oh, you meant the listener.
I meant the listeners.
I was like,
you
wait,
can't
I've been able to fast forward all these years? Where's that button? Why am I just now hearing this?
Did you learn nothing from Adam Sandler?
I do my best to not watch Adam Sandler.
That is fair.
So save marathon race prep. Stop Peloton from deleting classes. So this is a petition at change.org because they deleted a class and they don't like it. It's skyrocketed all the way up to 217 signatures. And here's the thing.
Well, there's a lot of things. Can we start with the fact that they think, the people who wrote this think that Peloton started purging in 2023? Can we start there?
Yeah, it is funny. In 2023, Peloton began deleting older classes.
No, girl. They've been doing that since day one.
Since like 2014. But, but here's the deal. It doesn't matter how many people sign this petition. If you got 1 million people to sign this petition, it wouldn't matter because the only metrics that Peloton's going to care about is the metrics of how many people are taking these classes. And when they reach a certain point, they're going to go and they're going to move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
They're constantly in the present tense. They're like a shark. They got to keep moving or they're going to die.
Yep.
And so like, it doesn't matter if a bunch of people off platform were like, yes, keep that. If at the end of the day, people still aren't taking the classes.
Look at it this way. Let's say that all 217 of these people are taking these classes every week. That means that these videos are getting a max viewing of 217 versus the 20,000, the 40,000 that are happening on the new ones.
Yeah.
Why would you keep that? Why? You wouldn't.
And I get that these are, and that's part of the problem with a class like this is it's hyper specific. I almost wonder if it's even maybe kind of seasonal that like people.
Well, it's marathon season.
Okay, but if it's marathon season, you should have already been doing this.
Fair.
Like you should have started this 6 or 8 months ago.
No, that's not true. It's marathon training season.
Oh, training season. Okay.
So like you have your spring marathons and then you have your fall marathons. And so people usually start training for fall marathons in early July. It's like if you did a 14-week training plan, that would start the first week of July, for example.
Okay, gotcha.
So, but here's my bigger problem with it. They don't want to keep classes that are old, not only because of all the things you said, but also because they're going to be, they've learned new things. And they have new instructors teaching them. And for all we know, they're going to come up with a whole nother marathon plan.
Yeah. They
could be on the cusp of releasing that. I don't know, but they're not. This petition isn't going to do it.
Yeah.
And the reason so there is a theory out there that people don't know that these classes exist. But if that's the case, like, let's just say that's true. That means no one's taking them. It doesn't matter why they're not taking them.
Yeah.
The end result is they're not taking them.
But I get that, like, if they don't feel like Peloton is promoting them, then people don't know to take them.
But why would you promote a class from 4 years ago?
Right.
Why would you do that?
Also true. But like, it's part of the problem that people have about Netflix is they were throwing so much content out there and only a handful full of it was actually getting any level of promotion. And so, I mean, they were really expecting the people that produced it to do the promotion of it themselves. And because if you couldn't get that algorithm to latch onto you in the first like 72 hours, your show was as good as dead. So,
well, this is my thing. I am a person who very rarely goes back and takes old classes.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm alone in that. There are people that have classes, like there are people that be like, oh, I love that class. I'll take it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
But I think that even if you have a person that has one class like that, you have one class like that. You can't take the whole library over and over and over again. And even if you do, nobody else is. Yeah. And so they only have so much space they want to put on the server, regardless of what you think they should do. Like they're not going to spend more money. They're going to have X amount. That's what they've decided.
It's similar to a streaming platform, right? Like
it is a streaming platform.
I mean, yeah, it is. But when you log on to Netflix or Hulu or Peacock, like you kind of look at what's on your main page. You don't go digging through it for the most part. Maybe every once in a while you do. And there's certainly some people out there that do. But by and large, most people are looking at that main page without doing too much scrolling for the thing that they're probably going to end up watching. Yeah,
and I want to be clear. I'm not frustrated that people want these classes to stay. And I'm also not frustrated at people who do take these classes over and over again. What I'm frustrated at is that you don't listen. That like people aren't going to do what you want them to do just because you want them to do it.
Yeah,
and it's just like I feel like we have talked about this a million times.
Well, not everyone listens.
That's then they should. No, I mean, for real. But they don't listen to anything because they would know Peloton did not just start deleting classes.
For sure. But like I said, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the petition gets. No. It matters what actual usage is.
Either way, 217 people is not going to cut it.
Yes.
It does not matter where it is.
We should also remind people that London Calling is this weekend.
Yeah, so it's number 2. So if you're not familiar with what that is, all the German instructors are going to be kind of having their own little homecoming, if you will.
Okay.
And they will be in the UK studio. They're going to be hosting classes and they're going to be able to be there to do meet and greets and things like that. And so there are 4 different weekends taking place throughout the year. And this is number 2. So all of the instructors are super excited about it.
And coming up after this, we're going to talk to Dr. Jen. She's going to deal with tackling intervals when you just can't stand them. But you need them. So stick around.
Getting the psychological edge with Dr. Jen.
Joining us once again via the magic of ZoomTube is Dr. Jen Mann, licensed marriage, family, and child therapist and sports psychology consultant. She was a 5-year national team member in rhythmic gymnastics and sports psychology for USA Gymnastics. It's Dr. Jen. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Well, we have a question from Rachel Cook. She says that she cannot get excited about interval or speed work training. Endurance, she can do any day, all day, but getting motivated to push hard and not long is very hard.
But then the question to me is, why do you need to do this? Like, are you training for a race?
I happen to know that Rachel is training for a half marathon. I only know that because she and I talk. That it was not included here.
Okay. So if she wasn't, I would say, you know what? Then maybe you don't do it, or you do it once a week so that you can try to kind of balance yourself out as an athlete. Because she is training for a race and you have the intel on this, and that this is part of her regimen in order to prepare for that race. First of all, I think that you have to figure out what will make it more fun. And sometimes there's nothing. But if there is something, okay, maybe, I'm very music based in my choices. And maybe the answer is picking a class based on music, even if it's not like the instructor's not doing the intervals you need, but you can do your own intervals to that class. So you get the music you like, the instructor who's doing and talking about things like, Maddie is always super entertaining and is like, that can distract from a really horrible run or intervals that you absolutely hate doing. The other thing is, if you're doing them outside, bring them inside. If you're doing them inside, bring them outside, just so that you've got some variety. And then the other thing is to kind of change your mindset about it. That if you're using this to train for something, then keep your eye on the prize. Like before we did Big Sur, I put a printout of the Big Sur elevation, which was something that really scared me going
As
in.
well it should.
Thank you. Yes. Up on the wall by my tread. And every time, like, I'm not a big fan of hills. They're a little hard on my back. So I kind of had shied away, but I had to build back up on doing some hills. And when I found myself where the instructor was saying, okay, do hills, where before I wasn't, now I was, I would look over at that piece of paper and be like, okay, mile 10 through 12, that's all uphill. How do I want to feel when I'm doing that? And that's what kept me going. So I would recommend put something up that reminds you about your race, that reminds you of your goal, that reminds you of those 12 miles, that is something that will kind of keep it in perspective. And then you can kind of take your medicine in order to be better prepared for something that's really important to you. Then it's kind of a gift you're giving yourself, even if it's torturous in the moment. You at least know why you're doing it. And sometimes when you lose the why, it just feels torturous. But if you're able to look at the elevation at Big Sur and go, wow, I don't want that to be any more horrible than it has to be, you're able to kind of stick to it.
Yeah. And you crushed it too when you did the hill. You just...
Thank you. So did you.
Jammed right up there.
Even after being hit by a car, you killed the hill. You really did.
Luckily, it was early.
And that was a hell of a hill.
Yeah, Tom saw the hills. Like he saw the hills.
Because we went and drove it afterwards.
Yeah.
And so I could see the course because it was a really beautiful course. And like when we came back around and you saw that hill up in the distance, I was just like, oh, no.
At the 30-mile-an-hour winds in our face.
Yeah.
Like coming at us. Like not behind us, pushing us forward, but coming at us.
Literally every obstacle on our face.
Yes.
It was amazing. And I think that that's one of the cool things about doing a half marathon, about doing a 21-mile Big Sur race, doing a full marathon, doing an ultra, any of that stuff. It's that you see this thing in front of you and you're like, can I do that? And there's such a great sense of accomplishment when you're able to conquer that and to go like, what am I made of? What can I do? What is my body capable of? And I think that was something that was a really wonderful part of like our Big Sur experience. And like when I did the LA Marathon in 1999, like for me, that was a bucket list thing that was like, I don't care if I crawl it, if I walk it, I just want to finish it. And when you have those experiences under your belt, you start to feel like, well, there's nothing I can't do. Like if I can do that, well, I can do this, and it builds on itself. And that confidence as an athlete is really cool.
I totally agree. I absolutely agree.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all that. Until next time, where can people find you?
On all social media at Dr. Jen Mann. And that's 2 N's on Jen, 2 N's on Mann.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Instructors in the news.
Adrian Williams is back.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Yeah, he had a surgery several weeks ago. He's been healing up. We reported on that. But yesterday, or earlier this week, I guess, I don't even know what day it is, June 20th, he taught his first live class back, and his first Thunder 45 will be on the 26th. So if you want to show your support to Adrian, that's the best place to do it. And of course, send him a message and say, welcome back, Adrian.
Absolutely. Logan Aldridge is preparing for the Chicago Marathon.
How exciting is that?
Not with those Peloton marathon prep classes.
You mean he went out and ran without those marathon training prep classes?
He probably was running to the library so he could log onto their Wi-Fi and sign that petition at change.org. Oh, those people, if they do listen, they hate me now.
Yeah. Well, I think after my deluge, they hated me more.
That's true.
Oh, well. So who is he raising money for? Can you read that? Because it's super tiny on my screen.
I on the YouTube people are getting just a close up of your face.
Sorry. Reeve Foundation.
Oh, okay. That's the Christopher Reeve, and now his wife's name is part of it too, Martha Reeve?
Yeah, so that makes sense because I saw one of the little captions at the bottom was talking about spinal health and stuff, and they do a lot of research for that. So that is really cool. And he's going to be documenting his training journey. So, hey, if you need some tips, Logan's good to follow.
There you go. He can make up for those lack of classes.
See, it's fall training time and he just started.
There you go.
There you go.
I believed you. I don't know.
Christina Sandifer is going to be training for the Chicago Marathon. She's one of the people I ran Big Sur with, and she is going to be training for Chicago. So go, Christina.
Awesome. Well and Good spoke to Dr. Chelsea Jackson Roberts. The headline doesn't say doctor, but I do.
That's nice of you, Tom.
I'm very nice like that.
I love this story. I did not know this story.
And what was the story? I didn't read it.
So the story is that she talks about how she had someone very close to her have a sudden death. I believe it was due to gun violence. And the grief from that was just, mean, as it would be.
Sure.
And she turned to yoga because of that grief. She got into yoga because of that and meditation as well. So, first of all, I love just that she is open enough to share that story.
For sure.
And second of all, that I really appreciate people spreading the word that meditation and yoga can really help with mental health and wellness. I think that we just need to keep repeating that because people don't do it enough.
Yeah.
So are you jealous, Tom?
I am very jealous of
you might
Sam-Yo.
You want to be Sam-Yo, don't you?
Well, except for all the exercise part. But
I mean, you're both bald.
That's true.
You both wear nerd shirts.
We're both apparently nerds. I have a nerd shirt on right now.
You do.
I have my Monkeys hoodie is on over it, but underneath it, it's Eddie and the Cruisers World Tour 1963. I put that on this morning and I thought to myself, if Eddie and the Cruisers came out today,
don't say that.
The movie would be set in the year 2003. Wrap your head around that.
I don't want to.
So Sam-Yo got to go to a special screening of The Flash.
You got to go see a screening of The Flash?
No, I paid.
Oh.
I couldn't go to the screening because it was the day we got back from Disney.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I wasn't sure if I was going to make it, so I couldn't RSVP. But he went to see a special screening of The Flash, which is a fun, flawed but fun movie that I enjoyed it overall.
But they didn't have red carpet at yours anyway.
They did not. I did not get to get my picture taken in front of the special Flash logo. Here he is with some cosplayers, a really good Superman costume and a Wonder Woman costume. And then in front of the Batmobile from '89, because Michael Keaton is in this.
Okay.
That's not a spoiler. It's in the trailer.
Right.
And then this is my favorite. Him on the little Flash emblem all lit up where you're supposed to pretend like you're running. So
you would have been totally down to do that.
I would have. Yes, I am always down to pretend like I'm exercising.
Yes.
So that's really cool. And I just a shameless plug outside of our normal shameless plug things. This is the episode. This is the movie we tackle this week on Real Spoilers, which you can listen to right now when you're done with this one, if you're so inclined.
But also, 10 years.
Yes, this episode is our 10th anniversary episode. We started 10 years ago, June of 2013. Our very first movie was Superman, Man of Steel, which I thought
remember
was a big giant piece of shit.
And you guys got into the epic argument.
Yes, I'm surprised there was an episode 2.
Right.
Because at the time they loved it. Since then, as most people do, they realized that I was right. But in the moment, they were caught up in the excitement. And,
yes.
But yeah, so that's the movie we're tackling. It's waiting for you when you're done here, if you're so inclined.
Well, congrats to Real Spoilers. 10 years is a huge milestone.
Thank you. So Susie Chan participated in a run called Man versus Horse. And this is a thing where you run against a horse.
So you try to see who gets there faster?
To see who gets there faster. It's in Wales. There's one in they do one in Arizona too, I believe.
Oh.
But this one is in Wales, which anybody can run faster than a whale. So that wouldn't be hard. I don't understand that at all. So I'm glad they switched to this horse model. But someone actually beat the horse this year, not Susie Chan. But I read this article, and someone actually, I think they said the 4th time in the history of the race, since 1980 is when they started. It's the 4th time that someone actually beat the horse, like ran faster than the horse. No one's beating the horse. The
Okay,
only
yes.
horse you should beat is a dead one.
Okay.
Isn't that how that works?
Well, I just think that maybe we shouldn't have any animal mutilation, alive or dead. But
You're no fun at barbecues, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I just thought that was fascinating that she's racing horses.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I know she's getting ready for Badwater, and we're going to be talking about that next. So,
Yes.
I mean, a mere 21 miles in the heat is nothing for her. She was
Sure.
probably like, this is an afternoon of training, so why not do the race?
And you think you really want to run faster than the horse because you're going to be stepping in a lot of stuff if you don't.
Well, I mean, you're not running right behind it.
Yeah.
You know?
And it says that Susie has taken part in this race 9 times, including one time riding a horse, which, Susie, that's cheating. That's like, we love you, but like, that's cheating. That's just a horse race, Susie. That's not. What are you doing? What?
You can't ride the horse,
No,
Susie.
that's not.
That's not man versus horse. That's
No.
woman on a horse.
That's horse versus horse. It's very unfair. This is a.
Well, I'm glad she did it right this year.
It's a scathing expose of Susie Chan and her horse cheating ways.
Glad we got to the bottom of that scandal.
Yes.
What's next?
Well, speaking of horse cheater extraordinaire Susie Chan, she is gearing up for Badwater with Striderthon.
Okay, no. I have
get
to.
wrong?
Well, it's just you just don't know the intricacies
No.
of the community. So,
Just to be clear, no.
so Susie is gearing up. It is coming up on July 4th through the 7th, and so is our past guest, Laura Watts. They're going to be running together.
Okay.
And now, remember, Badwater's 135 miles that they run, the whole time, guys. Like, the whole time, like 3 days of running.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But anyway, I
No
digress.
horses involved.
Now, Striderthon is Susie's group, Susie Striders.
Okay.
They're her fan group. They have put together a challenge for her people to come together and support her and Laura. So what it's going to be is as Susie takes off in wave 2,
Okay.
there will be at least one person on the leaderboard at any given time. I think it's actually 2 people on the leaderboard at any given time for the entire time that Susie is running and Laura. So we have somebody supporting both of them.
And one of those people will be a horse.
No horses. Also, just to be clear, you do not have to sign up for like the whole time. The idea is like you do it in 30-minute chunks or whatever works for you.
Right.
They're hoping to get enough people to cover all the hours. They are not suggesting in any way that you should run for 48 hours straight.
Correct.
So we want to be safe, first of all. But I thought this was great. What a fun way to support Susie and Laura. I love it.
Absolutely. Thanks for clarifying what that is.
Yes. And you can check it out at SusieStriderthon.com, or you can just go find Susie Striders on Instagram or on Facebook. They're a lovely little group.
And they have horses.
There are no horses.
Summer solstice is almost upon us.
Well, it was today.
Summer solstice happened. I thought it was in July.
No.
I'm not
the
a
longest
Wiccan.
day of the year is June 21st, honey.
The longest day of the year was November 2nd, 2002.
So Kira Michel was one of the instructors. There were, I believe Mariana was there too. Mariana Fernandez was there as well. And they both taught in Times Square. Now, Peloton has participated in this last year and this year. And what they do is they go out in the Times Square and they teach yoga. So between 9:30 and 10:30 was Kira's like flow. And I did tune in for a part of it. Just to be clear, I was not participating because I was also working.
Right.
But I was kind of watching. I took some little screenshots. It's just amazing. This year was like more people than that you see
Gotcha.
on that screen. It was covering both sides, in front of and behind where Kira was teaching. It was really cool to see. It was also hilarious because you would just see like these tourists coming through taking pictures
You're like,
behind them.
What the whole What's happening?
I know. They're just like, why are all these people doing downward dog?
Yeah.
Also, I kind of felt sorry for the people who were like right in front of the camera when they did the downward dog. I was like, ooh, yikes. I would not want to be right there. But hey, you got to be part of it. That's so cool. But Kira seemed to have a lot of fun. This was a dream come true for her. And she put it on her Instagram and talked about how important this was to her.
And I'm really looking forward to next year's, which will include yoga versus horse.
There are no horses.
Downward horse.
No.
Oh. This is a weird article. Peloton instructors have distressing advice for people. I don't need help being distressed. I am in distress pretty much all the time.
Not distress.
And why would I want that, honey?
De-stressing.
Oh.
As in, stop being stressed.
Oh.
They're giving you advice to not be stressed.
Well, that makes more sense.
It sure does.
It does.
Yeah. So did you see who all the different instructors were that were included in this?
I saw who one of them was.
Joslyn Thompson-Rule was one of them.
That's the one I saw.
And then there were two other instructors. I think it was John Hosking and keep scrolling. Yeah, John Hosking and Cody Rigsby.
Heard of them.
Yeah. So they all talked about different things that you could do to de-stress. But I thought it was a really fun article overall. Also, just a side note, I took an outdoor walk with John Hosking the other day. And he was just like, it was out of nowhere. He likes to ask these questions.
Right.
So he was talking about, I know, it was an 80s outdoor walk. And I'm setting it up. I'm really bad at this. He was playing the theme song to The Breakfast Club. So Don't You Forget About Me,
yes,
right?
Simply Red.
And so he says, now, were you guys people who had a lot of detention or no? I assume he was talking to the people that were behind the mics because we were at home and we couldn't answer. And he was like, now, I know this is going to shock you guys, but me, I never had a day of detention. He said that he has seen in lots of comments that people have him pegged for a bad boy.
Yeah.
And he is not at all. I thought that was interesting.
Or he's really good at being a bad boy and
that could be.
caught.
That could be.
That could be what's going on there.
He said he was just quite frankly too afraid of his mother. That's what he said.
I never got detention.
Never? Are you sure?
One time I got in trouble in grade school, but in high school I never got detention.
I was going to say, that lunchbox incident seems like...
Well, nobody caught me.
What about the scissors?
That I got in trouble for.
Okay.
I'm so old I got spanked for that.
Whoa.
By the principal.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had gotten away from spanking by the time I was in school. I was also in public school. You were in Catholic school.
No, I was in public school when
grade
that
school.
happened.
You were in well then.
Yeah.
Good Lord, Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's different times.
Yeah.
And before people at me, it's Simple Minds that's saying, "Don't you forget about me," not Simply Red. So sorry. I get my simple things mixed up. JustJared.com. They must be big fans of Subway. Boy, they are committed. I would have picked a new name by now.
I
but
would think.
To each their own.
Right.
They're talking about, they're just doing a recap of the Pride event that Cody Rigsby hosted. I'm looking for the name of it. Bring Change to Mind. There we go. This is a very ugly website. Sorry, Jared.
It is really ugly.
I'm like, it's like 1998 on this website.
I mean, it's one step above GeoCities up in here.
Yes.
It's maybe a half step.
I'm looking for a dancing baby GIF. Like that's what this
Scroll
site.
down.
Yes, that's what this site is going on. So, but they just had some pictures from the event in case you're interested. They also talk about the not Peloton related, but they have a link to the trailer for the Zoe 101 reboot movie, Zoe 102, which should be called Zoe 201.
It really should.
Because 102 would just be another class in your freshman year. So, I mean, at this point, she should probably be like getting her doctorate. But if the whole point is it's a sequel series, then 201 is the name of the show, not 102.
You're not wrong.
So
they just slapped a 2 in there to make somebody happy.
Yeah, they were somebody, you know, there was a conference room full of people having this debate.
Yeah.
And they landed on people won't understand 201 versus 101.
Nah, that's not how it went down. You know how it went down? What should we call it? A girl in the back who is smart and maybe even an intern, maybe a junior employee. She says it should be 201. And then some guy who's a VP, he said, no, it should be 102. And everyone went, yeah. That's how that went down. I've been in that meeting.
This show is for girls. They won't understand that.
Yeah, I've sat in that meeting.
I didn't know you worked for Zoe 101.
I didn't.
How exciting. Speaking of Cody, remember when we were speaking of Cody? Before we got off on our sidetrack about Zoe 102?
We did.
The reviews for his book are starting to roll in, and they're positive, or at least the ones that he's sharing on Instagram.
I'm sure they're positive.
We do the same thing when we read our reviews.
For sure.
That's no shade on our part.
I want you to start doing your reviews on one of these green screens, though, and make your face really big right in the middle of it like that. I want you to start doing that.
Okay. If I get a review from Bowen Yang, I will do that.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Well, congrats to Cody.
Yes.
And I know we didn't mention it, but I don't have a separate article for it, but I just want to point out that Ben Aldis's book is also coming out this fall. So they're both going to be happening around the same time. So you're going to be hearing a lot about these books coming up.
Get a library card, people.
You really should. Hey, speaking of books.
Heard of them?
Well, I just thought it was really interesting. I was looking for those little words bracelets that Peloton had popped out for like 30 seconds and they all sold out. And I thought, I wonder if they restocked them yet. So I just kind of popped over there to look.
Yes.
So I was in the accessories. Guess what I found in the accessories?
Books.
Yeah, I did. Well, you already know this, so it's not fair. But Emma Lovewell's book and Tunde's book. Not nobody else's, but their two books were there. I thought that was fascinating. So will we see Cody's book? Will we see Ben Aldis's book? I think we might. I have a feeling we will.
It makes sense. I guess you could probably use your referral credit if you were so inclined.
You could. Yeah. I think it's smart.
Absolutely it is. Coming up next, we're going to talk to Angelo. Here's the situation. You spent an hour prepping your food for the week. Mm-hmm. And then you don't eat it.
Right.
Why won't you eat your food?
Because somebody brought something else and it looks way better.
You did the hard part. Focus. He's going to give you tips.
He's going to tell you how to be strong.
Tell you how to stay the course. So stick around.
The Clip Out.
Joining us once again via the magic of a Zoom tube from MetPro, here to answer all of your fitness and nutrition questions, it's Angelo. Hello.
Hi.
Great to see you guys.
Well, I have a question from Catherine Dolger. She says that she struggles with having nutrition, being healthy food prepped and ready to eat. She can do that, but then she struggles with eating it even if it's there. So she'll make choices that aren't healthy, even though it's there.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, Catherine, great question. How to handle that? We deal with this at MetPro with our clients. This will sometimes happen. I'll tell you the exact scenario where we deal with this. People who say, I work from home, therefore I cook healthy meals, but I'm not always eating them. So part of what will help is if you actually portion them into, here's my snacks, here's my lunches, here's my meals. Actually make them, if at all possible. That tends to really help our clients. And also just recognizing the fact that you're asking the question is indication you recognize the value of meal prepping. You're already doing that. Follow through by eating those meals. The most important meals to eat, Catherine, are prepare in advance and follow through with are lunch and your snacks. Why? Breakfast, you're not going to have as much of a problem because most people tend to eat cleaner at breakfast. Dinner, you need to make good choices, but most Americans take more time for dinner, whereas we tend to eat lunch and snacks on the go. So it's really your battleground is between 10 a.m. and call it 4 p.m. Prep those meals, stay committed to eating them, prepare them in totality in advance. And at MetPro, we try and get our clients preparing 72 hours worth of lunches and snacks each time they meal prep, as we have found that seems to work best and most consistently for the average person.
That makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I know that works for me. Like when I make a big, now, unlike, I would guess, 99% of MetPro clients, I literally eat the same thing every day. But
Tom's a weirdo. Tom's a weirdo.
Yes, I am. And I always like to stress that when I talk about it, because I don't want people to think that's what MetPro does to people, right? Like
that's a Tom choice, not a
Right.
MetPro choice.
correct. And so I would hate for people to think, well, I don't want to use MetPro because they make me eat the same thing every day, because that will drive most people insane. I'm already there. So it's not a big deal. But yeah, I'll make a big batch of taco meat, and there's just a relief in knowing like I'm done for a week.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you've really come to like it, even though at first you thought it would be a pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really changed Tom's mind on that. So.
Yeah, like it's nice. It sucks that one day when you got to sit there and make, 4 pounds of meat, but
It also helps to the foods that trigger, Catherine. So the things that you tend to just go to and grab. Like there's these bars that are really high calorie, that are delicious, they're healthy, but they're not what I wanted. When I keep them in my fridge, I tend to just grab them because they are so easy. You know what the solution was? Get them out of the house.
Stop having them, yeah.
If you don't have it, yeah. So preparation is key. Putting yourself in an environment where it's easier to succeed than fail makes a big difference.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all of that. And once again, if people would like personalized advice, where can they find you?
Absolutely. Come to metpro.co/TCO. We'll customize these strategies just for you.
Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Peloton Artist Collaborations.
There is yet another new artist series, this time featuring Madonna? Is that who that is?
Oh my God.
I'm not up on the new music that the kids like.
Honey, that's Madonna.
Oh, Madonna.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know
I know
what's
her from that
interesting?
Weird Al song.
You know what's interesting about
What's
this? Madonna, wasn't she the very first artist collaboration that Peloton announced at the Beck concert back in Homecoming 2018?
I think it was. She was what? Because they announced like that and McCartney and
Cher.
Okay, yeah.
And then she was the first one to get released. Well, maybe all those classes are gone.
Could be.
They might have been purged.
You know what? I think Madonna fans should start a petition. And I want a horse artist series.
Well, at any rate,
Play the theme to Mr. Ed.
there's going to be a whole new collection. And I believe it was something like 19 new classes. Yeah, 19 fresh classes. Ooh. So I'm super excited about this. I have to say, my favorite part is that Maddie said that he is going to do it, and he is going to be on one album, the whole, like he's going to focus on just one album for Madonna. So I'm really excited about that.
Hopefully it's one of the good ones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay. Well, Tom, we may have to disagree because I feel like most Madonna albums are good.
She went in that electronica phase.
I liked a lot of, well, like the early electronica, I really liked like that early piece of it. But I was still in my 20s.
I just like the ones that are dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like those too. Yeah.
That's why I love you.
My favorite song by her was always Papa Don't Preach. I really felt that.
Are you a
No, I wasn't. But the angst behind it, the way she sang it was such conviction. It's like, yeah, Papa, don't preach. This is bull.
I like the one with Captain Lou Albino.
Huh?
Oh, wait, no. That was Cyndi Lauper.
Okay.
Other connected fitness.
Women'sRunning.com has an article about Whoop and what they're doing to close the gender gap in health research.
So I have noticed, not just Whoop, I have noticed a lot of companies really, really pushing the envelope on women's studies. And I'm going to tell you guys right now that they are all related. Every time I do any kind of research on it, Stacey Sims is somewhere.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited about.
For sure.
She's changing the way people view women's health, and it's about freaking time. But I digress. This is really cool because I use Whoop, and there's a lot of information that comes out of what I get out of it. So they take all of the findings that like Stacey Sims has said about like how you should be using your cycle to your advantage when it comes to working out. So you get to know like, okay, you're in this kind of part of your cycle right now. This is when you should be pushing hard. This is when you don't need to, you can take it a little easy, that kind of thing. But also, they take all of this and they're doing additional research that is helping people take it to the next level. And there's stuff happening in the background that eventually we're going to see coming out. Oh, I forgot about the pregnancy timeline because those days are past for me. But a lot of women, it's not.
You got some explaining to do.
Yeah, like how is that possible?
Yes.
But the pregnancy timeline is a big thing too, that not everyone has always agreed on whether or not you can exercise when you're pregnant. That is another huge change that we have seen in fitness, and I'm really excited about that. But you can track where you are with how your body is responding to your workouts as you're pregnant. That's huge. Being able to see in real time what those effects are is really freaking cool. I love this. And I know I said this before, but I feel like Whoop is getting even more information than they had in the past. And like, there was a moment where I was like, I'm done with this. And now I'm like all in, all over again.
Awesome.
In case you missed it.
Peloton Studios has their This Week at Peloton post.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on this. So in case you didn't get the classes, we've got the Juneteenth classes. We also, and there's new ones, new Speak Up classes. Also, I always say it wrong. It's like breathe in, speak up. The ones with Tunde and Chelsea Jackson Robertson. It sounds like I can't even talk.
I was just correcting you so other people wouldn't.
Yeah.
I was trying to save your inbox.
Yeah. Well, I was also trying to get to the fact that we have the Madonna artist series we already talked about, but
I believe it's pronounced Madonna.
But we also have Bob Marley classes coming up this week. And then, of course, Country Happy Hour and Sample That with Denis Morton. So
I guess the Peloton 420 tribe should be very happy about the Bob Marley class.
Well, they should have done that in April then.
I guess I didn't want to be too
on the nose.
Too on the nose, yeah. Peloton Studios also took us behind the class, Breathe In, Speak Up with Tunde and Chelsea.
Thanks.
No problem. I'm just here to correct you. Let me mansplain Peloton to you, honey.
That's great, Tom. So, this is a really awesome. It sounds like it might be a new series we've got going on behind the class, but they talked to both Dr. Roberts.
Yes.
And they also talked Roberts Jackson, would you say? But they also talked to Tunde about their feelings about doing these classes, where they started, where they are now, the specific classes.
Right.
Lots happened in the world, in case you hadn't noticed. It's been awkward. It's been a bit much.
Yes.
So anyway, hopefully you got to take these classes. But if you haven't, obviously they're on demand and they're there for you. So check them out.
There is a new Tropical Nights collection.
There is, yeah. Peloton just dropped it, and it's just like a little tiny micro collection, but it is part of the summer one, and Tunde is the model for it. People who are headed off to tropical locations are snapping it up left and right. It's really pretty. We've got a navy blue and a teal flower situation going on, and I've got that for bike shorts and a tank top and a sports bra. And then there were some like navy blue.
If you want something, you just want the top to be splashy.
Yeah. Then you could also have the Cadence strappy bra and the, what are those pants called? All day flare pant. It's those yoga pants that apparently now we have to have boot cut bottoms on. I don't know who decided that, but I don't like it.
In case you're doing yoga in boots.
I guess so. You never know.
Also, this is not Peloton related, but it is health adjacent. An article that you saw this week that you were not happy about. I mean, the article's good, but the information in the article is distressing.
It is distressing. So Bex Gentry talked a little bit about this on her Instagram, which is what raised my awareness to it. But this particular article was in Time magazine, and it was written by Allison Phoenix. And she talks about why Tori Bowie cannot die in vain. So I will be honest, I had no idea what that exactly meant.
Right.
Well, Tori Bowie was pregnant. I believe she was 8 months pregnant, and she died of birth complications, preeclampsia that eventually went into apparently seizures. They found out whenever they did the autopsy. So what's distressing about this? Go ahead.
I was going to say, we should say for people that don't know, she's a U.S. track and field athlete. So this is someone who is hyper fit.
Yes.
Right? Next level fitness, health conditions.
Yeah. And that is what is the distressing part that Allison Phoenix was talking about, that they show an image of 4 different women who were all at the Rio Olympics, including Tori Bowie. And all 4 of these women have had children since then. Well, they were all pregnant. And every single one of these women had birth complications or pregnancy complications related to preeclampsia. And in fact, none of these women were told by their doctor that because they were Black, they had a higher chance of having this condition. And that is just messed up.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was always told, because I was a very big girl whenever I had Sydney 16 years ago, that preeclampsia was something that only fat people got. And that's why I was like a person who was like on the watch list for it, because
and that's what I had heard. Like when my wife was pregnant, like that's, you know, they were saying that you watch your weight because of preeclampsia, the same thing.
I would have never guessed that these athletes who are super fit, thin, amazing bodies, that they like can run and run and run, and all of them are having this issue. What the is happening?
Yeah.
So
and why isn't the medical profession more aware of it so they can warn them and so they can take precautions?
Precisely.
Yeah.
So I felt like it was something that needed to be said. And I feel like we should all spread the news. All of us women should be looking out for each other. And so if you have friends that are, even no matter if they're fit or not, especially if they are Black, let them know this is a thing.
Yeah.
That could happen. So be careful.
Peloton birthdays.
We've got 2 birthdays this week. They're both on the same day, June 23rd, and it's Andy Speer and Denis Morton.
How did I never realize that Andy Speer and Denis Morton share a birthday with my dad?
Oh, how about that?
Yeah. Well, happy birthday, Andy Speer, Denis Morton, and my dad. It's pretty cool.
Coming up after this, we're going to talk to Caroline. She is one of the admins of the Peloton app users group. And obviously, there have been a lot of changes in the world, or there are about to be a lot of changes in the world for app users. And so we thought it'd be a fun time, hopefully, to talk to her and kind of get their take on the pulse of the app user community. So we're going to have that conversation coming up after this.
Checking in with the Peloton community.
Joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Caroline Lupetini. Hey, Caroline, how's it going?
Hi, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Before we start, for our YouTube listeners or viewers, show them the fire extinguisher you're drinking out of.
Oh my God. This is my giant emotional support water bottle. It says Overthinkers Anonymous on it, too.
We're just chatting along, and Tom has a heart attack.
I'm like looking off to the side while I work on something else, and I see her pick up that bottle, and I was like, she just drank out of a fire extinguisher? What is... That's crazy.
Now I can't unsee it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to call it from now on.
Well, you'll get people's attention.
Yes. Yes, you will.
So, Caroline, one of the things that I always kind of start these interviews with is I like to give people a little bit of background to understand where you came from, specifically when you found Peloton. How did it come into your world?
So the first time I ever heard of Peloton was, of course, that infamous Christmas commercial.
Okay.
I think it was the 2019 pre-pandemic, which it was so funny. My family definitely made fun of it. But when the pandemic hit and Peloton was giving away the 90-day free trial, I started. And where I started with Peloton was everything body weight. So yoga, stretching, and body weight strength. Because I didn't have anything at the time. I had started into fitness. I had run one half marathon by that point. No, that's a lie. I was training for my first half marathon at that point. So I also started doing outdoor runs and stuff. So I had done 5Ks and 10Ks. But yeah, so I basically came to Peloton that way. And so when the world started reopening a little bit, my office gym actually had a Peloton with a commercial subscription, toe cages. And that's where I started doing the cycling for the first time. By the time my now fiance and I moved in together in March of 2021, that's when we actually got our bike, which you can kind of see in the corner in the room with me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But now, and so you have a bike, you just said, but also you are one of the admins for the Peloton app group. So how did that all come to be? And we should probably explain to people what the app group is. Not everybody knows.
Yes. So the Peloton digital app users is a Facebook group. It's got, I'm on it looking at it right now. It's got, 56,000 people. But in terms of how I became admin, I just started as a member. Like I mentioned in 2020 in March when I started, I was doing everything on the app on my iPad and on my desktop. So like it was yoga, it was body weight, just doing everything like that. And I was a solely digital app user, like I said, for over a year. And so basically what was happening is the original creator and admin of the Facebook group was leaving. She asked for anyone that had an interest in running the group, had experience running other Facebook groups. I had experience managing larger Facebook groups in the past and smaller ones as well. So I volunteered and stepped up because I'm really, really passionate about, one, making like fitness accessible to everyone. It's really important that everyone find what works for them. Like I said, I started on yoga. It's an amazing workout. It's an amazing way to start. And two, the value of growing the Peloton community, especially for those off the bike. It's not just the bike. It's not just the tread. The app community is crucial. And even though I have the bike, I've actually gone to the studio. I've done one tread class and I stayed at a hotel once that also had a tread. So I've taken a grand total of 3 tread classes on the tread.
That's 3 more than me.
I know, exactly. It's so funny. But I would say like ultimately 90% of my workouts are on the app. I think it's such an important component of the Peloton community and of the fitness content that they do.
Well, it absolutely is important. And it has, I feel like over time, I got our bike in 2016 and I feel like it has only increased. The app barely existed back then.
It was an afterthought.
It was an afterthought. Yeah. And so when they first did their big relaunch of the app, that was, life-changing. But obviously, in the last couple of years, there's been a lot of push for, hey, we're going to go after 100 million, users on this platform. Yeah. And at least now, Barry is like, the way to do that is to get to the app group. I mean, to that whole population out there, they want to keep adding to that. So we can look for that to continue to grow. And one of the things that I definitely wanted to talk to you today about was how did it go when all the new changes dropped recently? So I guess we should also say for people who are listening who may not follow the news as closely as I am obsessed with it, that Peloton just came out with 5 new tiers for the app. And so instead of having one $12.99 flat fee, there's going to be 5 tiers ranging from free up to $24.99. And those are all just for the app, but that will not take place until December 5th. So tell us how that went over.
Yeah. So I should say, like, we are an unofficial Facebook group. There is no Peloton admin. Like, there is the official Peloton member Facebook page that's moderated and admin by Peloton itself. We are unofficial. Like, we purport to say nothing that we do is on the books or sponsored or endorsed by Peloton. So we had no idea it was coming. So it was a shock. I think it was, gosh, what day is my pinned post? But it was a couple of weeks ago now. It was a weekday. I was actually like in my office at work. And I realized, I was like, oh, this just dropped. And this is going to have massive repercussions on the community that I moderate of, tens of thousands of people. And so there was a lot of disappointment, I would say anger as well among the community, because according to some, the price is doubling to get the same content. It goes from $12.99 to I think it's $24.99 now for the upper limit. If you choose to stay at the $12.99 price, you get all of those fabulous things that I said, yoga, strength, meditation, outdoor runs and walks, which I think are really slept on. I think there's some of the best content that Peloton puts out. I ran my marathon to outdoor content. So I got my bronze running badge for, silver for 25 miles because I stacked like 6 outdoor runs essentially, which is fabulous. But
got 2 badges for one. You got 2
exactly.
medals for one.
Medal, and I got a Peloton monthly running badge too, which you never get otherwise.
That's right. And speaking of not sleeping in the classes, have you tried the new outdoor walk and run with Hosky and Maddie Bajacomo?
So fun. Oh my God. Loved it. This is my favorites. I tuned into the At the Club with John. Yeah. New series like right away every week. And I love Maddie's walk and talks on Wednesdays. He actually, when I went into the studio, I did mine with Maddie. I did a hit run, which was crazy. Yeah. It was very hard. Like I'm not a hit girl. I'm like an endurance, long intervals. It's so funny. But it was really, really fun. But it sucks that back to the app users thing. It sucks that, they are only getting 3 cardio classes. That's tread or bike or row per month. Now, on the other hand, they did release all the row content to us now, which is awesome. I haven't used it yet. We do not have a rower in my office gym. I don't otherwise have access to a rower. I could definitely go get a day pass to a gym and try some stuff out. Like, I'd love to take some classes with Ash, Alex, everybody, and Adrian and Wilpers as well. Like, really, really awesome. And I've actually bookmarked some of the classes. Like, there was Katie Wang's API Heritage row that I really wanted to do, but. So it's this balance of how do you continue to grow like a community of app users, give them like content, like a lot of content, because there is a lot of content coming out every week. It's kind of crazy. Like when the studio has been closed this past week after Memorial Day, they've still been releasing some on-demand content, but like you don't realize how much new stuff comes out every week until they stop releasing it. Mm-hmm. And obviously with these new app tiers, they're still going to be releasing it. You're still going to be able to see everything that comes out every week, but it's going to be tougher for those at the middle tier where you're only going to have 3 cardio classes a month to continue to take advantage of that. And I wish it was more. Like, this is my personal opinion. I wish it was 3 a week or maybe 10 or 12 or 15 a month. But
I would think when they said 3, I would think even 4. Like, at least that gives you 1 a week. Yeah.
And I just want to clarify for people that it's one equipment class
based.
And I only say that because that could even be the guide, right? Like, it could be anything that, that falls in that hasn't been released yet. So anything that's equipment based.
Speaking of the guide, we should probably talk about if she's aware, like the price hack that might work for some people. Yeah. So we were talking about this, and we put an article out because I just thought it was super fascinating that the guide, if you buy the guide, which you can get right now for $195 instead of $295, which is what it came out at, you can get the guide only membership, and that's $24 a month. But if you get that, you then get access to all of the app stuff and all of the rest of the equipment. And a lot of people don't know that. And it's not necessarily a good deal for folks who they're the only person in their household using it. But for people who have multiple people in their household, it is a really good deal because up to 5 people can share that.
Yeah. So that's the other thing. One of the biggest criticisms I saw as well is as I understood it, I actually didn't know this until someone on the Facebook group explained it to me, was that I think via an Apple subscription or a different subscription, you could actually have multiple users on one app membership. So one woman explained to me, she said, if me and my husband want all the same access to all the same content, the price is effectively quadrupling, because not only do we not get 2 people on one app membership for $12.99, now it's each going to be $24.99 for 2 memberships, which she's right.
Yeah.
I mean,
and a guide would be a good end run around that for her.
Good investment for that. Yeah. For that type of situation where there's 2 or 3 folks in the house, a husband and wife, maybe a teenage kid too, like, makes perfect sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So on the other hand, a lot of people have come out of the woodwork, I would say myself included, to say that this is worth it. I mean, obviously, the Peloton folks have done their business calculus behind the scenes to say that, maybe this is actually a push towards getting people to buy the guide. I don't know how the sales of the guide have been. Maybe they've not been as good as they'd hoped that it would have been. And this is one way where it's like, well, you can get everything if you put down $199 or it comes back up to $299 up front, or pushing people to other equipment purchases, bike, rower, tread type of thing. I still think the app is worth it, but that's the calculus that I've made as someone where, like, we can afford the $45 a month. I could also afford on my own, the $25 a month to buy the app. And that's a budgeting decision that I've made out of my values. But I know that with the direction, the economy is still not fully recovered. Inflation is still high, even though prices are going down. Like, my eggs finally came down to under $3 a dozen. So thank God. Right. It's a serious question that I think a lot of people have to consider.
Absolutely. So, yeah. Do you feel like the response in the group has changed at all over the couple of weeks since the news came out?
I think so. I will say one thing is that we put in place a rule. The first rule of our Facebook group was always focus on the Peloton app. We've added to that a caveat to say, please seek suggestions for an alternate app elsewhere. I just felt like my fellow admin and I felt like this was not a great place to, say, like, oh, is such and such app ever, like, oh, does anybody have I want to quit Peloton and try something else. this is not the place for it. And some of them even fall into a zone of multi-level marketing. I won't name it, but you can probably think of what that could be. And we just wanted to avoid that entirely. I think a lot of the heightened emotions like rage and anger and frustration have come down a lot as people have figured it out.
So you're going through the 5 stages of grief.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh my God. Well, the funniest comment I found, which I actually agree with this, is did anybody realize that the app changed color from red to black?
Right.
I'm a crazy person, and I have all of my apps categorized by color.
You do not. Okay, you are not the first person I've said this week that has said that this week. Can we see? Can we see your phone? I need to see a visual of this.
I think that's a good metaphor because that's what Peloton's trying to do, right? Go from red to black.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
One page, right? And so you have the news. Apple News is red, Reddit is orange. It goes down. My Libby's purple, and then Peloton is now here. And
it got moved to the bottom.
It got bumped down.
That's hilarious.
That seems like something your daughter would do.
It does. Yeah. It does seem she does. She's
very art driven. So she would see it through color rather than alphabetical or importance to her.
Sorry for the
psycho, but he's fine.
It's just other people have said that this week, and I'm like, I need to see an example of this.
Yeah,
this is fascinating.
But yeah, I think the emotions have come down a lot. I think people are trying new things. They're trying alternate apps, or going back to other gym classes, for example. But I think people are they're getting used to it. They're trying to plan out what do I want to do before December? I think the biggest answers to all of our questions will come in December when the rubber hits the road, I guess, in terms of when everybody's subscriptions switch over, how things change. And I'd be curious to see what kind of advertising and marketing Peloton does as December gets closer to sort of vibe people up for app changes and such like that.
I think you're going to see a lot, the marketing changes that they've already, that was part of the relaunch, right? And so
the whole font, the whole color scheme,
exactly.
I like it, but that's, I'm just
love it. I love it. It was cool because they wanted to talk to a couple people in the community just to kind of get just a general feel are we crazy here or is this? But when I saw it, the emotional response I had to the commercial was just wonderful because it's finally real people, these are the people that are in our community. These are the people we should be celebrating. And this is how they use it every day. So I was so excited to see that. And I think you're going to continue to see more and more of that instead of that commercial. Who's the guy that I always talk about that was naked in the park? I can't ever remember his name.
The Christopher Maloney.
Yeah, Christopher Maloney. They had that. That was supposed to be an app commercial, right? But you lost that completely because all you were talking about was the naked guy. And
because they were so concerned about going viral that they forgot that you also have to have the message resonate.
And so I think they're really going to double down on this message of who we are as a community, who this company really wants to be. And I hope that's what it is. That's what I expect to see. But I'm also curious, do you feel like the community thinks that the popular equipment user stance is that you get a great deal? I keep seeing everywhere that people are saying, hey, I don't mind the cheaper or the price of the app because it's still getting so much content compared to what you get for paying for the bike or paying for the full access, the all access. Yeah, I've seen that argument a lot. Do you see people having that discussion in the group?
It's the criticism I see is that, we're clearly pushing people towards buying cardio equipment. It's buying the equipment. They want to get people onto not just the higher tier of the app, but ultimately the cardio equipment. And, I'll be the first to say, I never tried to cycle with a different bike. For example, I know a lot of people set it up with echelons or Schwinns, which I think is awesome. Super good, especially if you're using the app in an office gym, for example, you're on the go. That makes perfect sense. But I do see the criticism that, they just want people to buy the higher monthly subscription and get, however many $1,000 or for the tread, $3,000 in order to get a piece of equipment out of a warehouse, essentially. And I see the value in the cardio equipment. I love the leaderboard. I love the metrics. It all makes perfect sense to me. That package, I really, really like. I really appreciate it. I think I think Peloton officially does not do a good of a job selling the differences between just the app and buying the cardio equipment and all the extra things that you get. I think a lot of Peloton users have never taken a cycling class, which is also totally fine. You do not have to be a bike person or a tread person to use the Peloton. And like I said, that's why I love the app so much. I started on the app doing strength, doing yoga, doing stretches. It all makes good sense to me. And I think it's well worth $13 or now $24, $25 a month. But cynically, people do see this as pushing folks towards the cardio equipment, I think.
That's so interesting
because I honestly don't think that it is. I mean, obviously they're never going to be upset if you choose to buy a piece of their equipment. Like I'm not Pollyanna over here, but I really think that it's just I think that they really are focused more on the app. And I think they also recognize that if they want to be profitable, it needs to be more than $13.
Right.
And I think the bigger problem was that they probably shouldn't have cut the price, or at least cut the price as steeply as they did back in 2019.
Right.
As I understand it, it used to be $20, right?
Yes, that is correct.
That's a big cut.
And that wasn't, 2019's not that long ago. And
I will say back in 2019, when it was $20, though, you could have as many people on it as you wanted. So that was a big change because yes, it costs more, but a lot of people that were app users, they had one person in their household using it. So they felt like it wasn't a good enough proposition. And so they made that change. At the time that they did, I think they were trying to really push the app, but then it was like, okay, well, this will be a loss leader. This will be, we'll
get you in on the app. You'll love it so much that when it comes time to buy a piece of equipment, you're like, well, obviously I'm going to stay in this ecosystem.
And then it became a conversation.
It's what happened to me.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of people start that way, and it makes sense, right? It's like you try it and you love the instructors, you love the way you're being taught, and then you want more and more and more. And so that's how it should be. But then it becomes, well, if most of our people are going to end up being app users, we're probably going to have to make some more money on that to be profitable in the long run. So that's why I thought it was interesting, because to me, it's more of a push to push the app itself. It's not really focused on the equipment.
That's a really good point. I think that's the sense that people in the community got for sure, is they want people to be pushed towards the app. But I think in terms of a business sense, Peloton absolutely. And I know that they're under new leadership. I think it's a strong business change. I'm no MBA, but I studied some economics and business in school, and I'm just a couple years out from school. And so I think it's a very strong business choice. Absolutely. I do think it's a good thing. I like all of the changes that are being made right now. But yeah, I will say this to your point, actually, Tom, about sort of pushing the app and sort of relaunching and doing new classes. I do remember in John Hosking and Maddie's summer kickoff walk and run, they specifically mentioned a lot more outdoor content is coming. So it seems like they definitely want to push that in a sense of the app. And so hopefully people do see that you're still getting a lot of cardio, running, walking instruction in that way, bang for your buck in the app that obviously does not count towards 3 equipment classes a month. That is included fully in the $99.
I think another thing that maybe the app users can take some solace in is this refocusing on the app means that they're focusing on the app, right?
Right.
That it's like for years there has been this perception that the app is an afterthought. Can I say afterthought?
Yeah.
But that I think they feel like, well, we know how to sell equipment. We're good there. And so we're going to pivot some, and that stuff will still exist. But knowing that they're taking this sort of interest in the app means that as an app user, you're going to continue to get first rate content. And like you said, maybe even more of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed always for more outdoor walks and runs. I noticed they've started dropping every Friday. I think they may have always, but I've just noticed it. And I look forward to it. So, what do we got? Hip hop run with Kirsten. And oh my God, the day that Susie Chan dropped her 75.
Yes.
I screamed. I was like, oh, because she is a fierce woman, this ultra runner. I saw her. She just did her 70-mile heat chamber training for, I think, Badwater. Oh my God. So I love her. She's among my favorite instructors. So I'm a total fan of hers, but oh my God, her 75-minute outdoor run. I just over the moon. I hope for more. And now that Bex Gentry is teaching again, I know Marcel does a lot of 60 minutes on the tread. So I really hope we can get a lot more long runs.
Mariana is going to be doing a 60-minute. Now that is an indoor one, but I think we can look to more long classes from her as well. So that's exciting.
I'm so excited. So,
I was also excited that John and Maddie were in 2 different studios when they recorded that. I was like, oh, we can look forward to more 2-for-1s, not just on a stage. Like, that's exciting.
Oh my gosh. I know they did an outdoor 2-for-1. I think it was JTR, Joslyn and Matt Wilpers for Global Running Day last year, the year before, which I thought was a ton of fun as well. That's actually one of the ones I took during my marathon. I thought was a great theme for that.
That is great.
So fun. Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge fan of 2-for-1s. I'm a huge fan of outdoor content. So, and I should say also John Hosking's 60-minute Ed Sheeran walk, which I thought was a fabulous, meaningful, excellent class and excellent use of that sort of platform, because I know Tunde obviously released all of her podcasts on the outdoor walking in that platform as well, which I thought was a brilliant use of that platform. So I can only hope for more type of really interesting, new, innovative ways to think about outdoor content too. I really do hope they continue to build out that vertical.
Definitely.
So I have high hopes.
Okay. Well, I was going to say we should probably kind of switch directions. I'm really curious to hear what your leaderboard name is and how you came up with it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So my name is obviously Caroline. I did not learn how to run on Peloton. I actually learned how to run on couch to 5K. I literally went from the couch to running a Thanksgiving 5K. The day that I ran the first mile continuously, I was like, okay, I guess I can really do this. So my leaderboard name instead of couch to 5K is Caroline to 5K.
Oh, I love that. That's great.
So I should change that now, though, because you've gone so much further than 5K.
Yeah, now
I have, which is wonderful. But yeah, I'll never forget Couch to 5K for teaching me that. But I will say I really like Couch to 5K, but Peloton walk run classes are much the same idea. And I use them all the time. Like I can run a continuous 5K, but at longer distances, I do actually prefer a walk run method. So I love all the walk run. Kirsten's Sunday walk plus runs are so good for that. Oh, so fun.
Do you have a preferred instructor?
Okay, so one of my favorites is absolutely Matty Majacomo. When I took my studio class, I took my hit run with him. So fun. Susie Chan, Bex Gentry, Kirsten's amazing, and Callie and Selena for strength.
Oh, I love that.
Awesome.
What a great mix.
I can tell that you explore, because like every time you're like, oh, this class, and it's a different instructor. Oh, this class is great, and it's been a different instructor.
Okay, and how can I forget, because I started on yoga, Kristen McGee is my yogi of choice. She taught me everything I know at the start of the pandemic. She got me through those first 3 months when I was living alone at the time and I wasn't seeing anybody. I think she's so good. Her Elton John class is just fabulous.
Oh, I've never taken the Elton John one. I need to go back and take that. I do.
And Maddie's full body strength for Elton John is also amazing.
I have to. Maddie's one of my favorites. So everything Maddie does is amazing.
Should do an Elton John walk class, and it could be Tiny Prancer.
Who did they run? Did Jermaine maybe did the run? I can't remember. I think
it might have been Jermaine.
I also love Jermaine. I love so many of them, honestly. And I'll also never forget, at the beginning of the pandemic, Rebecca Kennedy taught me how to do a Turkish getup for a bodyweight strength class. So things I will never forget in my Peloton journey.
That's great. You should make your own. We have a timeline of all the things that have happened with Peloton, but I feel like you need your own, like, here's all these milestones you've had, because they clearly mean a lot to you.
Okay, weekend this year, I finally got to the studio. So fun. Oh, have you guys ever gone to the studio?
Oh, yes.
Yes. I've waited in the lobby on more than one occasion.
Yes. Yeah. Back in 2018, we got to interview John Foley as part of Homecoming. It was amazing. Wow. Yeah. It was really cool. Cool. Yeah, it's Homecoming is my favorite. It's different now. Everything's different, but yeah,
it's now sort of been replaced with All for One.
It seems like it, yeah.
But
they haven't announced exactly what it's going to look like this year.
Well, by the time this airs, they probably will have.
They will have.
Yeah. Oh, fingers crossed. Yeah.
It's coming very, very soon. But yeah.
Well, no, I was just going to say thank you. I know we have a hard stop, so I just want to thank you. And before we let you go, let everybody know where they can find you and your app group and all that stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So the app group again is called Peloton Digital App Users. It's a public Facebook group. Just a couple of questions to join, and I'll approve you right away. I am again Caroline, the number 2, FIVEK, so Caroline 25K on Peloton. And then all my other socials private, but you can find me on the Facebook group and on Peloton.
That's
Awesome.
wonderful.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us and sharing your fire extinguisher with us.
Thank you so much. Oh, it's been such a pleasure to talk to you. And I love all Peloton, so this has been awesome.
Oh, thank you.
The Clip Out.
So I guess that brings this episode to a close. Until next week, where can people find you?
People can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Crystal D. O'Keefe. They can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and the Peloton leaderboard at ClipOutCrystal.
And you can find me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online at facebook.com/TheClipOut. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and of course, don't forget our YouTube channel at youtube.com/TheClipOut. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep pedaling
And rowing.
and running.